Welcome to Practice Strokes. And today I've had so many people ask me about using the floating medium. And this is folk art floating medium. I use this instead of water. All right, I'm going to show you two ways today. I'm going to put it in my double loader. And I'm going to show if you don't have a double loader, how we would use a foam plate. All right, so a couple of the colors I want to add are folk art multi-surface paint, and this one's magenta. So let me tell you that this is thick, creamy, wonderful coverage, beautiful paint. It's got a sealer in it. This is my all-time favorite go-to paint at Plaid for my everyday one-stroke painting. So I want you to know the thickness and the creaminess of it, and the coverage of this is amazing, and the blendability. So that's going to make a difference when you were painting with me. Also, sometimes there's 8-ounce bottles, mostly 2-ounce bottles, but I will put these colors, let me show you, they're going to go next to each other. All right, with the space in between when you're on the foam plate. I tap it down to fan out the paint color, but I just want you to know that if I'm on my double loader, and this is what you're using if you're struggling with getting your floating, your blending, without it going muddy, okay? So I would take and put two colors. One color that I know I'm going to use with white is magenta, all right? And let's say I'm going to put in a blue. This is called Blue Peacock. All right, so I can put magenta on one side, Blue Peacock on the other, and that's about how much paint I would put in there. I'm going to take this double loader and I'm going to tap it. This is called a double loader. It has a couple of pieces that go with this. Excuse me, let me grab it real quick. It has, oh, I guess I don't have it here with me. All right, it fits inside my palette. All right, that's a palette. This is a double loader. There's 5 pieces to this. There's a lid that goes on top of here and a lid that goes on the entire piece that pops on. And it's got a sponge and a lid on the sponge so that it would keep it moist so you could come back over and over and paint with this. But mostly what I want to share with you is this loading process. And how I keep painting and picking up more paint, which is what most people have said to me is, how can you leave a large amount of paint like this and keep picking up paint and not having it dry out on you? And being very confused that it would be drying on the brush with so much paint on the brush. So sometimes I want you to see how that process goes in a slow motion. So I think this is real important for you guys that are new, and for you guys that have been painting with me for a while, where you're feeling like, how come I just don't get it to look like Donna's? All right. So let's start off with, I'm going to use my 3/4 inch flat brush that I just got white all over the handle. I tried to start with the one that didn't have paint on it to start with. All right. So, but now I've got white paint all over me. So I'm going to wipe this off and then we're going to get started. Okay, there we go. So I dampen the brush in my basin, then I lay it on my paper towel for the excess moisture to go out of this brush. Okay, this is the 3/4 inch brush. This one and the 16 flat I use a lot. All right, so the value pack of brushes comes with mostly flat brushes, a couple of liners, and a couple of scruffy brushes. And that's my most used 10 brushes. All right, and then we also have the signature set. All right, so now let me show you. Let's do a loading here. All right, so I've got it lightly dampened. I'm going to come in here between the two colors. I'm going to go back and forth. This is just like a refresher. So when I say refresher, it means sometimes you don't look at how much I am picking up, right? So if I just did this, you don't even see the white because I'm on white. But if I come in here and I work it, okay, work it in, work it in, work it in. if I want white and I'm thinking that's not going to show still, I could come in with a little bit of daffodils. Let me show you that. Just a touch of daffodil. All right, multi-surface daffodil paint. All right, I'm going to tap it. Now watch what happens. I can now pick up a little bit of daffodil, just a little bit, but now I'm going to work it. I'm still working it till it might have a light yellow and blend right into the pink. Now see how much time I'm taking with that? And I've got it loaded into the paintbrush well. So now when I come here, all right, see that dry area? That means I needed a little bit of floating medium. See the dry right there? Then I go right back over this. Okay, so then I could come right here again, and it should feel like butter, really smooth. Okay, so I'm going to watch how I keep picking up. So this is the first petal. See how I'm picking up here? Picking up a second petal. All right, then I'm going to come here and all the way around. I want you to see that we are maybe every once in a while dipping yellow, but then you have to work it again. All right. Now this means you have to control yourself right here and not be all over. Do you see I don't have little spots all over? I'm going right here and I'm picking up. And if I do it, I want all these outside petals. Excuse me. I want your eyes to look at the outside edge of these petals. All right. So this is from here to here. This is 1, 2, 3, scrub and pull and stand up. All right. So you're seeing the waves, and I'm loosening up just a little bit here. Now watch this. Now why you would do these beginning strokes, I'm doing them here, but sometimes if I just pick up a little bit and I come here, I can go 1, 2, 3, and whoops, that's dry. See, I can feel when it's dry. I want you to see, I've told a few of them, you guys, I'd be on today with this. I want you to see that I need it to go smoothly. And if it's not moving smoothly, you just dip a teeny bit. Look, I barely dip into it. Then I can come back over here. Let's get some yellow and work it in, work it in. I'm not necessarily picking up more pink. All right, so now the key to how this works. See, I know that sometimes y'all think I have a ton of paint on this brush, but I want you to know that sometimes I do keep building it up where there's a lot on here. All right, but that's not a bad thing. Now, it's not going to dry out unless I go to water. If you go to water, it's going to be muddy. I clean it with water. So now I'm going to put the bud in here. So watch this. I'm going to come up here and make the top stroke. Now, the reason I need to keep going over here is because I do need to have a strong color here so you can see inside, and you can see inside there, and you can see the white out here. Okay, now see, I need enough pink to the yellow that when I come back here, I don't want to just have dark yellow now. I want to blend it right here. See how I'm blending, blending, blending till it matches the rest of the flower. See, it's a little bit dark there. That's okay. It's not too bad. All right. So now I'm going to come on this side. So there's always one side that's easier for you than the other. All right. This is harder for me on this side than that side. But then the rest of the strokes should be going back to what's the easiest way for you to do it. All right, so look, I keep stroking there, and that's what keeps it moist. All right, as long as you are taking and moving back and forth by picking up paint on this brush, it's not going to dry out in this brush. All right, and if it does feel like it's thicker or pasty, which I don't yet. I dip into that and I go 1, 2, and I'm ready again. All right, so I got kind of darker yellow here, so I'm gonna just touch that yellow, or I might have messed up this U with these petals down here. Okay, so now watch what happens. I'm gonna pick up that white again. I'm gonna touch here, same height. I'm gonna lean the white out and come across, pick up white, touch here, lean the white out, and then lift and drag that right over underneath here. Okay, so then I'm going to come right here and come across a little bit right here. See how that dark pink comes in there? Gonna come right in there. See, and fill in that gap. Get a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white. Come right here, lean, lean. You can either roll it in here even and stand up. All right. Now, I don't like that crick that I had right there, but the beauty about having all this paint on your brush is that you can come here, lean out, and you can smooth this on out a little bit more. And so it looks nicer. All right. So I want you to see that the difference that that makes, because I'm on white, but also the key is, even if I was like this, say I'm yellow and pink, and I come over here and do this. Okay, so see, that's not blending. Look at the difference when I blend. See, this is just picking up two colors and doing it. And you have a little teeny bit of blend in there, but not much. Okay, so there's not much blending, you see. All right, so now when I say I'm going to do multicolor, all right, I can come over here when I'm doing this. I'm splitting right in here. I split the brush when I first do it. Then I come right here, work it in. And then when I come here, see, that's just not enough. That's not enough shading. There's not this depth that I need, okay? So also, I can come in here and decide, like I said, I'm going to dip yellow, work that in, dip white, work that in, right? Okay, so that's how I do it in the double loader. This kind of controls you so that what I'll see is people are all over on this. And by the time they get through doing that, all right, which I see all the time, then it's this mud. That's mud. Okay, we don't want that look. We want this crisp look. See the difference? This is too harsh. I want that look. That's not enough. I want that look. All right, so I'm just trying to help you focus and see what I'm sharing with you. All right, so then I can come right here with the same color in my brush and come right here and pick up the blue on the magenta edge. All right, so I can go back and forth, back and forth. Now you might not see, I'm gonna pick up white. You might not see pink yet. But what happens, because the pink's in there, I could even add a little bit more pink. I've got that already, and it looks like a lot of paint. All right, so you split the brush to pick up, and you go here to work it in. And then if I want to dip in the medium, I dip straight in the whole chisel. I go here, work it in a little bit. All right, so now let's look at what happens here. We're going to take and, oh, I need a little bit more white. Okay, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. That's a lot of paint. But if I sit here and put a little bit of pressure, I want you to see that I can come around here. I had so much paint because I kept adding that I got 3 petals before I had to go back. But then I can just go flatten the brush, just picking up some more of that paint. My eyes are watching the outer edge. All right, so I can come around here. You want to go the direction that's easiest for you. And if you're left-handed and you're holding this, you might want to turn this sideways to get in here. You might want to go, you might hold the brush like this if you're left-handed. So that means you would turn this till you would stroke backwards on the petal. All right. Now, and every left-handed person adapts to the right-handed world in their own way as you were growing up or whatever. So, or how you were trained. And I guess it's the same with righties, but this is the thing. Most of the time they would in school or whatever, I think, try to make you adapt to the right-hand world. All right. So sometimes I know my sister and my dad were both left-handed. Okay, so now I'm going to just do a real quick center. So my key the whole time is my eyes are looking here and my eyes are looking up there. I want you to see the layers. All right, so my layers are going all around out here. Okay, so what's going to happen now is I'm going to come right around here. I just picked up more paint. All right, so your key the whole time was trying to keep same colors as you picked it up on the outside edges and being able to see the layers. Oops, see, I can put another layer in there. The layers in between, all right? Now, what I want to show you is I can lightly wipe that off and come right over here and pick up citrus and thicket. Okay, this is citrus green and thicket. What I like to do is say I want some pink in the leaves. So I can pick up the magenta, citrus, and still some sap on the magenta edge. But so that's multi-loading. So look what color that ends up being. Kind of dark. So if I put some white on the citrus edge and a little bit more pink, see what that looks like. All right. So you can take and continue to add some of that color in there. So let's look at what that looks like. All right, so I'm going to come right here and stand up. Let's pick up a little bit more white. Okay, and then I can pull the stem right in there. All right, now I can continue like I do because I multi-load. I continue to pick up different colors, and I want you to see as I come down, you can see some blues and some pinks in there. All right, and let's see if I can get it to mostly green, citrus and green, because I want to see, I keep picking up lots of paint on there. All right, and then I can come back in here. You want to push it so you're touching in the middle. You roll your brush. You can turn it around and slide it down. You can come back on this side and make it match. All right, so then I pull the stem in the middle. Now I got really pasty when I went back there to touch. So what you're seeing, let me wipe some of that off. See, I keep wiping off on paper. That's what I need to show you more probably. But I want you to see as I pick up paint here, I go here and work it in. I don't clean all that color out because sometimes that color pops through and makes it really nice. I get a little bit of floating medium because I'm starting to feel a little pasty, but this paint's still being moved and used, so it's not drying. So that's what I think I'm hearing is, how does that not dry? Because I'm not on a paper plate, I'm on a foam plate, or I'm in my double loader. And part of the double loader that's good too is that it stays in this cubby area, and so it keeps the paint more intense there instead of spread out. But I use foam plates all the time. The double loader is really important if we're having problems with being able to get a not muddy look. So I've got all that paint, and so sometimes as I'm stroking, sometimes I have a dry edge. Okay, So if I keep painting, let me just keep painting with this for a few minutes and see if I get a dry edge. All right, because y'all see it's a little bit dry right there. You see it's still dry. So just here on the tip, right here, see it's a little dry there. I like this really smooth. You don't want to stop. See that's dry there. You don't want to stop and just abruptly stop because that does not look good on your leaves. So see, oh, I just messed it up because what I wanted to show you is something different. Like 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna scrub, 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 and then stand up, and slide. All right. So then same thing happens here. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna wiggle. I'm gonna roll it back out, wiggle, stand up. See, it's dry right there. So that dry part is this corner. So I can just touch just that corner so you don't get all kinds of goop on the brush. Just the corner that's not playing well for me. So look, I can come right in here. That's harder to get back in there. Now see, I can stand that up and it's nice and clean there, no dry. So when you're stroking like this, you want to go all the way. You're holding the brush straight up and down so the paint distributes well onto your surface. All right. So now what you want to do, if you're coming here and say I use the dark on the outside here now, what you want to do is you want to make sure that that dark comes all the way down smooth and you don't just chop it and quit. That's one of my pet peeves is that when people just quit and they have a really bad area there. This is not like terribly bad, but it's not great right here. So what I would do is if I came along here, I should want to get this nice smooth, right? And then I turn it here and I just want to get this side nice and smooth. All right. And then it looks like, let me come back in here. It looks like I did a poor job of pulling my stem in the middle. So what you want to do is stand the brush, lift the front, and drag that last little thin piece of stem into there. So let's do that again right here. All right, you see they're nice stems. They're not, you haven't stuck a big glob in the middle. So you stand this up and you lift the front and just drag about 2/3 through. Or I might say I want this one a little thicker and then stand up. All right. But do you see what I'm unhappy with? I don't want that look. I want it to come all the way out here if I restroke. I'm just kind of showing you what the questions I've had come to me and what they're concerned about is mostly that this paint's drying on here. But we paint kind of quick, and so we use up a lot of that paint. If you are spending an hour to work on your leaf, that is going to dry up. So you would just put fresh paint out less often. And but lots of people, when they're painting, learning how to paint, they put little dabs, just a little dab. You notice there's not a little dab, but because if you have more paint on here and you're able to work with this, you're going to learn quicker because you're able to practice. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I want you to see that I'm just picking up, going into the medium, getting here, make a nice color that I want. Then I'm going to come right here and see that's just gliding like butter. Okay. Now let's come right back here, touch the white again. Now we're going to come right here. And it feels just like butter, very smooth, but then you have to slide and then come to a point. All right, so now that's what I want many of you to be working on, this finish. And so you noticed I got it totally loaded with paint. Load, 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 load. Then I still dipped in the medium and worked it back in. So by then, I did come over here because I'm not sure, like, is it too much medium? So then I want you to see that I can get a nice smooth, You can use the different size brushes at this point, but look. Okay, I can curve around and have it feather. I like it feathering sometime because to me it just looks like it's loose and natural looking. Okay. And so, I mean, this is mostly what I do my blending, shading, and highlighting with is a flat brush of whatever size. And the size depends on what you're painting, a piece of jewelry or a real teacup or something large like the oversized canvas. Okay, so I just want you to see it's all about how I'm picking up paint, how much I'm putting on here. Look, I lightly wiped off that and I can come right in here and pick up blue. Okay, and I might put citrus in blue. Okay, but we do need a place to work that in. So I could still come right here. Okay, dip a little bit of medium. Now watch this. 1, 2, 3. Now I like to go in and out sometimes to get a pretty shape leaf. All right. So your goal is to come in here. Let's say I'm just going to go from here to here. So now the darker color is going to be in the middle. Okay. All right, now you got to stand up the brush, stand up the brush, stand up the brush. All right, and you can clean up that middle by pulling your stem right in the middle there. Okay, but see if I don't like what that looked like there, it's very simple to come right here, flatten your brush. And if I'm doing blue flowers, sometimes I just like to put the blue in the leaf. Now see that edge is dry? Dip just that edge. Work it in. So it only takes about 2 strokes to work it in. Okay, so now let's go back here. I had 2 problems. I wanted it to be in the middle. And then look, see how nice I get those dry edges? Please work on those dry edges. They're not pretty. There's 2 things that you might see when you're doing your strokes. You might see those dry edges, or if I come in here and go like this, and I don't work it in well, as you're coming around, you're seeing all those streaks in there. Can you see that? Those little streaks? Some people might think that looks pretty, but that's not what you want to see. You want to go 1, 2, 3. You want to work it in either here or on your palette. Oops, that's very dry. I'm going to get a little medium and do that again here. Okay, now it's smooth. All right, so see the difference and those streaks there and there. This looks like you didn't know or didn't blend it enough. So, or load it properly. So 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going right on that wet paint. You know immediately when it has those unblended strokes in there. Look at that. I don't like that citrus right there, but that's easy. All right, but that's ideally what you want. Whatever color you pick, you want it to be smooth and nice and blended on both sides. You want nice endings. All right, so I can come in here. See, that's dry. Put some floating medium. I dip floating medium. I just go back to my palette and go 1, 2 to work the floating medium in. All right, and then I'm going to come right here. No matter what size brush you're using, guys. See that? And so then I can come right in here. And I purposely fan this to get that look. And you can make that 2 strokes here if you're not liking the 1 stroke. I don't like a lot of 1 stroke leaves with the large brush. All right, it's easy to do with the 12 or smaller, but it doesn't usually look too well with the 3/4. There we are. All right, and you pull a stem in there. Okay. So I hope I taught you a little brush up. We can add a few more of these in here again, mostly with the questions that you guys asked me. So if you're wondering how to keep your brushes from drying out, how much paint you're putting on your brushes, look how much paint I have in there. But when I teach my people to do teachers, my artists to be teachers for me, I tell them by the second or third class that you're teaching, you're going to walk around and you can tell by their plate if they're having a problem with loading. You can tell by their plate if they're doing something wrong. You can tell exactly what's happening by these little marks on here. Like if I go around and I have like all the way around things like this or this or this, and I say, "Ah, are you an oil artist?" And they look at me and go, "Ah, how'd you know?" Because there's things that we can tell by looking at your palette that will tell us if you've done watercolor or if you, I mean, we might not know what type of painting you've done before, but we just know that that's not what we do with one stroke. So I want you to practice some of this. Rewatch how I picked up paint, how I blended paint, how I added floating medium, please. And let me know if this helped you at all. Thank you so much for being on today, and I'll see you next time.